go.
The fuck is up?
That's us. Live stream number 21.
The Raw Truth. How is everyone today? How are you doing today?
Good, mate. It's a good day.
It is. It's a nice day outside.
Yeah. Went out, had a wicked discussion with my missus this morning over breakfast. So booked out the coffee shop for 3 hours. It was good.
Nice. Where'd you go?
I just placed down the road here. A vegan-friendly cafe.
Yeah, what's it called?
It's called Dickie's.
Dickie's.
Yeah.
Oh, is that New Farm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run by a little Asian fella.
We've been there, haven't we?
He's a good bloke, yeah. Getting real chatty today, actually, for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He knows everyone by name. It's quite a... I'd say he must be a good business owner.
Oh, right. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you?
What have I done?
What do you do this morning?
What did I do this morning? I had a little bit of a sleep in.
Oh, yeah.
And then did some stretching this morning, so...
Stretched up?
Stretched up, limber, ready to go.
Stretched up for a good day on the couch.
Mate, yep. Yeah, it's been a nice relaxing morning. Had some brekkie and a yak with the missus, and yeah.
That's what today's about, isn't it? You know, like being on that journey. Having the right people around you. You know.
Doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Josh said it's afternoon in Sydney, so good afternoon to everyone that's not in Queensland.
Down south. Yeah, the rest of the country, yeah.
Well,
Except
no,
for that west.
The west is behind
Anyone
us, so
west
it's still
of us.
morning over there, yeah. But,
Heresy.
Heresy.
So what's been going on this week in
Mate,
the war camp?
well, let's just get straight into it and not fuck around, eh? So, as always, welcome to the Raw Truth, where we collab... Let me try that again. Welcome to the Raw Truth, where we are creating a community, a collaboration of knowledge and empowerment in the heavy metal community around contemporary social issues and interpersonal struggles.
That's right.
The journey on our warpath that we're all about. That you guys are on your warpath, we're on our warpath. We're all living life to the max, and we're here to share our knowledge and experience. And yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today we're talking about. I want to take you guys on a little bit of a journey. So, do you guys remember when you first started becoming a metalhead? I know for me that was a long time ago. For some of you guys, it might have been an even longer time ago.
Decades.
Yeah. Like how long have you been a metalhead for, you reckon?
Oh, probably 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe 15 years old,
Probably
so probably 10 years.
Yeah, probably slightly more than that, so maybe 15 tops. But
Not very long.
No, not very long in the scheme of life. But what, like, if you guys think about when you first became a metalhead, think back to that time when you were doing things a bit differently. You were dressing a little different. You may have started growing your hair out, or you were listening to different music. Maybe you went through like an emo phase or a goth phase or something else where you're like wearing makeup or nail polish or I don't know, getting piercings, tattoos, whatever it might have been. Like when you first started like delving into that alternative lifestyle and being a bit different to the people around you, do you like remember doing that? Do you remember like how you sort of felt like a bit of an outsider, and like maybe you had some friends that were pulling you that way, so you had like a little community around you? But I know for me, certainly, like I didn't. Like I was becoming a metalhead through the music, and I didn't really know anybody else that was a metalhead. So it was quite a solitary sort of transformation for me, where I was becoming different to everyone else that I knew, and I was trying to find other people that were like me and other people that got what I was going through and listen to the music I listened to and all those things. But certainly, like when you step out into that alternative world, it is quite it's quite isolating, I suppose, because all the friends that you might have previously had, or your family members, or whatever it might be, start looking at you differently and sort of thinking like, this guy's a bit weird, a bit different.
Going through some freaky changes.
Yeah. And then a lot of people say things like it's only a phase, or
yeah,
you know, it's like, metal's not a phase, bro. It's a fucking lifestyle, and I'm sure you guys can understand that. It's a forever thing. But what I wanted to say was like, remember that feeling you had of being sort of outside the group and being a bit different, and that feeling of being maybe like a bit of a heretic, where you're stepping away from the mainstream and thinking a bit differently and acting a bit differently. And well, we're kind of going through that again now, being a metalhead that's also venturing into health, fitness, giving a shit about our mental health, working on our physical health and the way things we eat, the things we do with our time, trying to be a bit more productive, saving and investing money, just trying to live a better quality of life while still being a metalhead, kind of seems to be putting us in a little bit of an isolated position. And I don't know if any of you guys that are going through a similar journey, maybe you started like working on your mental health, maybe you've started getting a bit fitter or healthier or whatever it might be. People in the metal community, a lot of them start looking at you like you're an outsider again. even though you're still a metalhead, now you're like getting your shit together a bit, and people are like, well, what's wrong with this guy? Like, why isn't he just getting drunk and partying with the rest of us? You know, like, so you sort of start to go through that same feeling of you know, separating from the group a bit. I don't know if you guys have been through anything like that. If you have, like, let me know down south in the comments. But what I'm trying to explain, I guess, is going through that journey again, is remembering like what it was like becoming a metalhead for the first time, stepping into that feeling of being a bit different, but being okay with it, because you're like, no. Remember when you became a metalhead, you're like, this is what I want to do, and like if people don't like me and people want to look at me different, awesome. In fact, I welcome that, because I believe I'm on the right path. I believe I'm doing what I think's best for me and what I think's best for the world. It's just like, and so you had confidence going into being a metalhead in that way, because you're like, this is who I truly am. I'm finding my true self in this music, in this community. In the same way that what we're doing right now is doing the same thing. It's like I'm finding myself in this new community, in this new path of life, like looking out for myself and my health and my finances and my time and all those other things. So even though you sort of might feel a bit isolated and a bit separated from the group, I'm finding that I can still be confident in that because I believe I'm on the right path. Do you sort of feel the same way, Wally?
Yeah, man. I think it's definitely one of those things where, probably for me, like you touched upon, I spent 3 years, you know, having my P's, driving to shows and setting up my drum kit and coming home and these things. I'm like, oh, can't wait to get on my opens where I can start drinking at shows and that sort of thing. And I got to a stage where I even moved like really close to the local venue we were playing at, and we didn't actually, let's say, end up playing there. We haven't played there since I moved. But I had this mindset, like right before I moved, I'm like, oh, I'll be able to live like right next to this venue and I'll be able to go there all the time and drink and all this thing. But as that move happened for me externally, the changes also happened inside where, okay, I stopped drinking and started caring about all these other things more than what I already was. And then, like, I'm living just down the road from this venue, but like I don't even care what's happening there, like, because I have no intention of going there and just getting on the piss and seeing all these local bands play. And it just my life has evolved past that stage of like partying all the time and that sort of thing. And again, it's something that we've talked about personally, like if that's not the lifestyle for us, like if metalheads don't hang out at the metal show until 3 o'clock in the morning, like where do they hang out? And that's something we're discovering, you know, talking to people and that sort of thing. Well, they can also be at the coffee shop at 9 o'clock in the morning, you know, but there's just not a gathering of 100 of them at the coffee shop, you know, because that's not what they're doing. But there's no thing that stops us from reaching out and organising, oh, let's meet up with someone at a coffee shop, or let's meet up with someone in the park, or whatever. Like, because we're all just human beings, we're doing our things. But for myself, it's been like that transformation of, okay, well, what is it that the stereotype used to be, and then like what is it that I'm creating for myself as like an expectation or as a normality? It's a difficult thing to mentally get into when you're like, oh, well, if we invite this guy to the coffee shop, like, does he get out of bed before lunchtime, or is he like drunk and smashed or whatever? You know,
it's about finding the right people to hang out with, I think. And I don't know if you guys might have been through a similar thing, if you're changing your lifestyle in this way, or maybe you're already like healthy, or you're into that kind of stuff. Certainly one of the things that I'm finding is like sort of redefining what a metalhead is to me. Like, you know, you think a lot, certainly like in the thrash community, you know, you think about a thrasher from the 80s or whatever, it's all drinking and drugs and partying till like the wee hours of the morning, waking up at lunchtime, go to the next gig and just partying your life away. That's not something I want to do anymore with my life. I'm still into thrash, I still want to play the music, I still love the music, but the other stuff, the drinking and the partying and all that stuff, it's not something that interests me right now. What interests me right now is looking after my health, getting up early and exercising, eating better, not drinking much, not staying up all night partying. You know, and so it's hard to, what I'm getting at is it's hard to find other people in the metal community that want to do those things, that you can then create a little community of and do. But like I said before, coming back to when you were first becoming a metalhead, and maybe you didn't know any other metalheads at the time, You just had to be that metalhead. You have to wear the band shirts. You grow your hair out. You look like a metalhead. You be you. You be the metalhead that you want to be. And then other people see your shirt and go, fuck yeah, this guy's got a cool shirt.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go chat to him.
Yeah.
You know, and you start developing relationships and finding people that are into what you're into because you're just doing it and you're just being it. And you're being it publicly.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things that I found with metalheads at the moment is a lot of them aren't doing that. A lot of the metalheads that are into fitness or health or things like that, they're not wearing it as a big flag saying, like, look at me, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So it's hard to find those people, and that's one of the things that Wally and I have like come to realize is like we're being us. We're gonna wave that flag of like, this is what we're doing. We're looking after mental health. We're looking after our physical health. We're eating better. You know, we're looking after the environment. We're doing all these things that we're doing. Like, hey guys, if you guys are doing it, come over here. Let's have a chat. Let's be a community together. Let's do it together. You know, it's so you've got to. In the same way that a metalhead wears a band shirt and has their hair long, maybe they have a beard or whatever, like they visually look like a metalhead, you have to start visually being who you want to be.
Yeah.
And promoting that so that other people can find you.
And I think there's a lot to that because when we talk about, you know, like this physical appearance of this is what the guy looks like, this is what the girl looks like, the things that are operating inside of them, let's say their cares about the world and the things that they value, it's difficult to often project that as a flag or as a statue, the way that you would wear a shirt
on a t-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's where this concept of like conversation comes in, and we need to let's be out there talking about the things that we value. Let's be out there sharing the things that we care about, and what do you know? All of a sudden, people will start to gravitate towards you.
Well, that's what this thing's all about. This is about that community. We're being vocal about. We're being vocal about what we're trying to do and what we're all about. And so you guys are finding us and you're connecting in that way, and we're finding you and we're connecting in that way.
Yeah.
You know, it's good to see some guys tuning in today. Like, g'day John, g'day Josh, and Derek, and Glenn. It's good to see you guys hitting the comments.
A couple of Americans there, yeah.
Yeah, anybody else that's watching, like, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. And
yeah.
And we'd love to know if you guys are into things like health and fitness, or if you're into, you know, like being on top of your mental health or financial health or whatever it might be. Like, what things are you guys doing to make your life better? Like, we'd love to know in the comments, because that's what this is all about, you know?
Yeah. And I think for myself personally, that's been the best part of probably the last 12 months. Having the lockdown, having the coronavirus stuff going on, it's forced everyone to find something to bond over apart from just going out and drinking and watching bands.
Absolutely.
It's forced us to have to like actually have sober conversations with people on a weekend morning and actually have to talk about some real things. Well, let's say coronavirus is actually impacting someone and they don't have work and they need some money, or they're working more, or whatever the case may be. All of a sudden we're learning a lot about this person, you know, and it's allowing us to give them so much more of a brand to that person, or that person has so much more of a personality than just a metal guy.
But that's I think that's a big thing. The fact that Corona's sort of stopped a lot of gigs and things, it started to change the conversations you're having with people. Instead of catching up at a gig going like, how sick is this band, and like, what's your favorite Slayer album? Like, you know, it's like we're having different conversations because we're in a different environment now. It's like, what do you guys do on a weekend other than go to gigs? Because we're not doing that now, you know? Surely you're doing something differently.
Well, the time passing by, and that's the best thing, is that, you know, we're discovering these people, and let's say either on social media or in real life, we're finding more people who align with the values that we share, and that's simply creating more friendships and creating more opportunities to just build your community around you. And it takes someone to go out there and represent themselves. You know, it takes someone to go out there and be themselves, to wave themselves as a flag for other people to be attracted to. But if no one does it, if no one tries to break free from the norm, let's say, or the identity that's attached to us previously,
sticking within that stereotype.
Sticking within the stereotype. If we're not able to break free from that and go out into the world and project ourselves as, someone who cares about the environment, someone who cares about actually, you know, getting financial freedom, or someone who cares about being healthy, you know, how are we gonna become any of those things, or how are we gonna find other people who care about it?
That's right. You know, like, one of the things that a lot of people say
Dang.
A lot of successful people say, you know, you are who you hang around with the most. Like over a 5-year period, you become like the people that you hang around with in that 5-year period.
Yeah.
So if you're hanging around people that are like you, or like where you want to be, you're more likely to be there. If you're trying to go this way and you're hanging around with people over here, more often than not, just things like peer pressure and even your subconscious will direct you into being more like the people that you're hanging around with.
Yeah.
So it's so critical to like pick that community so strongly. You know, I can see some people who are definitely agreeing with us in the comments. Yeah, but it's so important to like make sure you're like monitoring that friendship circle, like we spoke about last time on the Raw Truth.
Yeah.
You know, monitoring the people that you hang out with and saying, are these people living the life I want to live, or like on the same direction that I want to live? Because if they are, then they can help me get there.
Yeah.
And if they're not, then I need to separate myself from those people a little bit more and hang out with people that are on the path. You know, get that that community around you that's going in the same direction you are. You know, jump on board the right train.
Yeah, and I think especially it's been an exciting time getting out there and getting to know more about people. You know, we went on a bushwalk a couple of weeks ago.
That's right.
Talked to people about buying houses, building businesses, you know, all these sorts of things like war service and things like that.
These are
like,
metalheads, by the way.
Yeah, like all metal people. And you're like, damn, there's so much more to just a drunk guy smashed to the show at 2 in the morning, you know? So much more to his life, which
That's
you
right.
assume there was, but you never talk about it.
Everyone's got a life outside of going to a gig.
Don't mind me.
Wally's got a bit of a flu.
I'm dying here today.
He's coughing. It's not COVID. But yeah.
Too much talking. I was talking here for like 4 hours before we start.
Yeah. You weren't coughing at all before the live stream started. It's just like as soon as the cameras roll in.
No good.
It's like
Gotta die. But it's just so much fun to be more, you know, to learn more and build more friendships and more community around it all, man.
Well, as Derek said there, you know, being with birds of the same feather is so important, and it is like because you become like the people you hang out with most, you know. So what I was going to say is like stepping out of that circle of the typical metalheads that are, you know, drinking and partying all night. Like, not that there's anything wrong with that.
No.
But that's just not what I want in my life.
Yeah.
So I have to be willing to step out of that circle, go and be myself, to then attract more people like me.
Yeah.
Or go and be myself to then find more people like me, and then go and join that community.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, as I said, what this whole Raw Truth community is all about, you know. I know somebody spoke about, speaking of like wearing your identity and being that person, in the same way that you wear a band shirt that says like, I like this band, I like this kind of music, and I like their message, promoting that visually to other people.
Yeah.
You know, somebody mentioned the other week that we should probably look into getting some like the Raw Truth patches or some sort of Raw Truth merchandise.
Yeah, right.
To be like, hey, like I'm a positive metalhead, and I'm gonna wear that on my battle jacket. I'm gonna wear that on my T-shirt, so that other metalheads who are also into that can then see it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I put up a post the other week in a metal fan like group on Facebook, just saying, you know, hey, is anybody else who is a metalhead also into fitness and health? And like, people came out of the woodwork, man. There was like 400 people saying like, yeah, I'm a metalhead that's like into fitness, and you know, I do weightlifting, and I do yoga, and other people do like running, and other people are walking.
Crazy, man.
So many people coming out of the woodwork saying like, hey, yeah, like I'm a metalhead that's into all this stuff. And not saying that those people like didn't exist before, or like that I like brought them out, but like I guess it just it boosted my confidence to know other metalheads out there are doing this stuff and actually care about it, because so many metalheads are into it but don't publicize it.
Yeah.
For fear of being ostracized from the group.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't want to be that guy at the show that's like, no, I'm not drinking because I'm into health, because then everyone else looks at you going like, this guy's weird, like we don't like him.
Yeah.
You know, he's making us look bad or whatever.
Yeah.
So many metalheads like hide that part of their identity.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be ostracized from the metalhead community. But like, I guess what I'm saying is, before, like, when you first became a metalhead, you were willing to wear the band shirts and grow your hair out and say like, I'm a metalhead. I don't care if other people who aren't metalheads don't like me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and be me over here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to wear that with pride. I'm going to wear these shirts with pride. In the same way, if you're a metalhead that's right into health and fitness, be that. And be willing to wear that with pride. And if people go like, oh, this guy's weird, like, leave those people behind, man.
Yeah.
Be you. Be the most you that you can be. Like, and if that means being ostracized from a group and being the heretic
Yeah.
so be it. But like what I'm saying is like, you're not alone, definitely, because we're into it, and a bunch of people in the comments here are into it.
Yeah.
And we're slowly growing this community, So,
yeah, man. That's been the best part, and like it's so good to see people commenting in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just alluding to the fact that the solitary journey can sometimes feel really isolating and lonely, but like people will come and go. As we move through. Oh, this person, they're into this thing, and we come, and then we grow. Whether you grow apart, grow together, whatever the case may be. You'll spend time with people, and you'll get to know them, and you'll grow, and you develop. But if you never became that person, you never would have come across them.
Yeah, if you weren't being that person visually, externally, like vocally, then you won't find those people. You can be whoever you want on the inside.
Yeah.
But if you're not showing other people that that's who you are, how are you going to find those similar people?
Yeah.
John's actually brought up a good point here though about the whole like circle of friends thing. Is like he says you got an inner circle of friends, which is what we're talking about. You got those like 5 or 6 people that you really vibe with, and they're pulling you in the right direction of life. But you also have a larger group of friends or people that that might be completely different to you, who challenge you and who give you different perspectives in life and give you differing opinions, which is super important as well, because you don't want to end up in an echo chamber where you just have 5 friends around you and you always have the same conversations and you always agree on everything, because then you start to like misrepresent the world and say, well, everyone's like me. It's like, well, no, they're not. Just those 5 or 6 people you hang out with are.
Yeah.
So that's a good point, John. Like, thanks for sharing that, man. I really do agree that you do need that larger group of friends that disagree with you too. And that's why it's important to still go to shows and hang out with people that are doing things that you don't do.
It is a difficult balance to achieve that. I think myself personally, let's say being a vegan, you think the whole world's wrong for still eating meat, and you start to find other vegan people, and you're like, oh, sweet, someone else who gets the message. But then you meet 3 or 4 of them, you're like, oh, fuck, the whole world's starting to go vegan. Like, there's some people out there doing this thing. And I mean, why it is a thing. Maybe there's 2% or 5% of the population or whatever doing the vegan thing. Like, that's a lot of people, but 2 out of 100 is not a lot of people. But
no, that's right,
when you start to find more people, you let's say you get your hopes up, because people are catching on to the thing you're doing, and whether that applies to music or anything else, like if you start to find more people, I mean, for me it reinforces my belief, because like there's other people out there, so there is a balance between like over playing like, well, everyone else is wrong and we're right because you're in the echo chamber. There's a balance between finding that,
right?
but also the confidence of like, well, there are some people who care.
Yeah, and I think that's the balance, isn't it? Because if you're completely different to everyone you sort of, your self-esteem maybe or your self-confidence does start to dwindle, because you're like, oh, am I the only one that looks at things this way? Like, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So it is important to have people around you that agree with you and support you, but it is also important to have people around you that disagree with you and that challenge you, and that you challenge them, because that's how we grow and that's how we learn. And I think that's the importance of society, is like diversity of opinion.
Yeah.
Definitely. It helps everyone move forward.
And it definitely helps us to... I feel like the confidence that I've got from doing me and then finding people who challenge me, let's say whether it's for finance, and finance is a good one, because so many people ask you like, oh, why do you need to be rich, or why do you need to have so much money, or why do you need to quit your job or do these things. That my goals are, it reinforces your knowledge, and it reinforces the facts that you have to, let's say, challenge their arguments. And if they can poke holes in them, I mean, for me, it forces me to go do more research. I'm like, wait, am I actually on the right path? Like, if people have ways to poke holes in my battles or in my arguments, I've got to figure out how to patch them up to make them stronger.
So you're saying by like people challenging your, say, way of life or your belief, it makes you like have to go and then fortify your position more and build more confidence around it, to be like, actually, no, I've done the research, I am on the right path for me. Yeah. And that's interesting,
especially if you talk about like a factual debate of information where someone's like, these are the facts, and you're like, well, no, these are the facts, and then they poke a bunch of holes in it. They're like, well, I actually got to go do my fact checks.
I've got to go do some research,
to reinforce the knowledge that you already have, and then that will allow you to grow yourself. When you can sit there and poke holes in everyone else's argument, knowing you have a full spectrum of knowledge around a particular topic, because you're able to beat people in their arguments, Like,
Well, it's just about being more confident in your position, right?
yeah.
Yeah, rather than necessarily. It's not necessarily about proving somebody else wrong. It's just about like, oh no, like I need to like be more confident in my belief.
Yeah.
Mm. Absolutely.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, not just beliefs, but also facts. When it's like, okay, if you're trying to share something with someone as well.
Knowledge or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I can sort of explain this thing to you. You really don't know a whole lot, but I can sort of fumble my way through it. And they're like, well, what about this thing here? And you're like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, didn't think about that.
No, well, I got to go back and I got to learn more, and then I can come further ahead of myself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Get yourself further down the line.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. But like, so yeah, I think it's important. And as Tim said as well, though, you know, it's about challenging the change of life. You know, like you've got to continually grow through life. I think that's certainly my belief. Like if you're stagnating, you're dying. Like you don't want to be the same person you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. In 10 years' time, you don't want to be the same person you are now, because if you are, what sort of life are you living?
Yeah.
You know, you're like, unless you've already got the winning formula and you're like, I just need to do this every day of my life and I'm going to be happy. Yeah.
Not
like,
possible.
I don't think there is a winning formula for that, but you know, so I think growth and change is important in life. You know?
Yeah.
But as Tim said, you know, it's important not to lose your identity within yourself through that like peer circle and things. If you're hanging out with people, it's all well and good that they challenge you and that you challenge them and all that stuff, but you don't want to also be squashed into just being part of the group.
Yeah.
You know, you've definitely got to be confident in yourself and be willing to tread your own path. You know, walk your own war path, as we always say, and be willing to be the heretic sometimes and be like, well, I'm different to everyone, but I'm okay with that because I'm me and I'm confident in being me.
Yeah. I mean, do you have any examples in your own life where you, let's say, had to evolve through something and end up, let's say, you know, because you're like going along part of a crowd and you're like, wait, I need to change something, and then let's say your confidence dips and your level of community dips because you isolate yourself, but then now you come out higher on the other side.
Do I have an example of that? Absolutely I do, mate. The last 5 years of my life. You know, when I was probably 4 or 5 years ago, you know, I was exactly the same, man. I was that metalhead that was at the shows, drinking till 3 a.m, you know, just doing nothing with my life other than going to work every day and going to gigs on the weekend. And I was very unhappy, but I was part of the group, and I felt like I belonged in the group. But I was not me, and I was not living my life the way I wanted to live it. I was just being part of the group.
Yeah.
Doing everything everyone else was doing and trying to be cool and all that stuff, you know. And it just got to the point where, like, with my depression and a lot of other things that took over my life at that point, negative mental health, I was like, I got to do something about this.
Yeah.
I got to change because I'm not living the life I want to live and I'm not happy.
Yeah.
You know. And so I started looking after my health and I started working on my mental health and my mindset, and I started eating better and exercising more and all these things. Started saving more money and being more on top of my finances. And in doing all of that, I went to less shows, I drank less beer, I was hanging out late a lot less, I wasn't up all night partying with all those mates.
Yeah.
So what happened is I started ostracizing myself from the group. They didn't push me out, I just sort of stepped away and was like, no, I got to work on me and I got to find my own self and who I am. Certainly over the last few years, like I've been on a journey trying to find myself. Without getting sort of too deep into it, like I feel like for a lot of my life, like I've been one of those people that's always just been part of the group and not being my own self and not being confident in my own identity.
Yeah.
To the point where I don't actually know who I am and what I'm about. That's been a big portion of my life like that. And only in the last sort of couple of years have I like started discovering who I actually am and what I want to be about and finding that identity of myself. And you know, I'm still discovering it, to be honest. I'm still figuring it out, but it's like so empowering to be like, no, I like doing these things, you know.
Yeah, right.
Even something little like I am a musician, I am a creative, artistic person. That's who I am.
Yep.
I've always had that side of me, but for the longest time with things like work and finances and relationships and friends and all that stuff, family, like the pressures of life made me think that that was a bad thing to be, because it's not going to make me money.
Yeah.
It's not going to be secure financially. You know, like a relationship, there's pressure from a relationship to be like, well, you got to have money coming in, you got to be able to support like a family in the future and get a house and all those things. And I'm like, But at the core of it, like, I'm a creative, artistic person, and I was squashing that side of me to go out and earn money and to go and work a job that I hated, just so I could provide a life that I necessarily didn't necessarily want.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like, and so something I've discovered recently is like, I need time every day, or at least every second day, to be that creative, artistic person.
Yeah.
Certainly being a part of the band and doing all the things we're doing now with like recording songs and jamming and just like playing guitar a lot more and writing lyrics and all that stuff. Like, that is making me so much happier.
Yeah.
And I'm so much more willing to stand here and say, like, I'm a musician. Yeah. Even if it's not my main source of income. Yeah. That's who I am. Yeah. And my source of income is just a job that I have on the side. As Booger said there, you're metalhead first and foremost. Like, I'm a musician first and foremost. Yeah. And I'm everything else after that. Yeah. Like, I'm a creative, artistic person. That's one thing that I've realized about myself only in the last 18 months. Yeah, right. And I'm willing to stand there and say that,
So, has that brought you, maybe not necessarily more external validation, like you said, you're part of a group, and then you had to ostracize yourself. Not necessarily, now you've ended up in a pool of people much like the same, but it just landed you happier within yourself, regardless of the external people around you now.
Yeah, there was no, like, I don't need external, like, I've always had the external validation that I'm a musician, I'm in a band, I play shows, people go, oh, you're like, that was an awesome show, you guys are really good, whatever. It's like, that's awesome, and like, not to say that it doesn't mean anything, all that external validation's great, like, everyone else looks at me like I'm the musician. Yeah. But I didn't feel it in myself. Yeah. I wasn't confident in that's who I was. Yeah. I was like, that's who I am on a Saturday night. Yeah. And the rest of the week, I'm an architect in training, or I'm a removalist, or whatever I am. Yeah. Like, that's who I am, and the musician was like, oh, that's just what I do on a Saturday. Yeah. But it's like, no, that's who I am, and I just do the other things during the week.
Yeah, I do these Monday to Friday.
So, like, that internal shift of perspective, which only I could discover for myself. Like, no amount of external validation would make me believe that. Yeah. I had to discover that.
That's crazy.
For myself, and I'm so much more confident and happy as a person in discovering that about myself. Maybe you guys have had something similar. Maybe you guys you feel inside yourself like that you're not living the life of the person you want to be. You're not, like, inside yourself, deep down on a subconscious level, who you are and what you are, and maybe you're not realizing that about yourself at the moment. Maybe you're sort of living by society standards, or you're living by your friend circle standards, or your family, and it's like you're squashing that true essence of like who you are inside. Like, what it is, you just need to find it again. Yeah. But if there is something that you guys are struggling with, trying to find that identity, like, let us know in the comments, or like hit us up with a private message, or hit me up personally. Like, I'd be more than happy to talk about my journey in more detail, that journey of self-discovery and things like that.
I mean, one thing that Tim's pointed to in the comments there, it says, I'm a metalhead, Buddhist, and love rebuilding old cars in my spare time. That's like, let's say, that doesn't fit within anything, but that's Tim. He's not trying to fit into this group or whatever. Like,
the metalhead, Buddhist,
that combination.
Car rebuilder. Like, there's no group for all of that.
No, like that's not a thing that exists in the world, where maybe there's 50 people out there chatting about it, or maybe that's as big as the group is. There's 10 people out there talking about that.
That do all of those things.
But that's Tim being Tim, who he wants to be. And this is something I spoke to you the other day about too. It's like, if there was no desire for money, like, what would you do with your time? And I think this is a sort of exercise that I've done with myself. Like, how to find what I care about the most is take away all the things that I need to live, and if all those things were covered and I had unlimited everything except for time, like, what would I do to give myself the most fun and satisfaction? For myself, I came up with reading, working on cars, much like my new mate Tim, and doing band stuff, and, well, I'd say relationship time, but I haven't yet decided what that means, because sitting on the couch watching a movie with my girlfriend, or going to the park and having a picnic, or getting on a plane and traveling the world, they're all significantly different activities.
Spending time with the girlfriend means so many different things.
I haven't figured out yet which one I want the most out of those, but, like, let's say I'm painting my character by participating in exercise like that, and then the process of what would be my ultimate day or my ultimate week, whatever. The best activities I do then I just need to work backwards to make them reality. You know,
Yeah,
and then
I think that's
I'm chasing, or I'm in pursuit of, like
that perfect day,
yeah,
perfect life.
yeah.
That's a really good exercise actually, Wally. And I challenge the guys that are watching today. What does your perfect day look like? If, as you say, if money wasn't an option, if there's pressure of all your friends and family and relationships and everything else, like, was not there, and you just had all the time in the world and all the resources in the world to do whatever it is you wanted to do, what would your perfect day look like?
Yeah.
What would your life look like? Would you be a traveler of the world? Would you be I just want to spend hours playing my guitar?
Yeah.
Would it be like, I just want to hang out with my kids? Or maybe you do love your job and you're like, I would actually go and do that thing that I'm currently getting paid for, but I would do it for free. You know, like what does your perfect day look like?
Yeah.
And if you can figure that out, and I'm not saying you have to figure it out in 5 minutes, but if you can work out what that looks like, what that perfect life of yours looks like, as Wally said, you can then start going, well, why am I not working towards that?
Yeah.
Like, that's who I want to be. That's the life I want to live. Now, how do I get there?
Yeah.
You know, and you come back and you're like, well, I can start taking this step, and I can start taking that step, and I can start working towards this and that.
Yeah.
You know, Steve said he'd love 3-foot surf and guitar. Like, that's his perfect day.
Yeah.
Excellent, brother. Are you living that life right now, though? Or is that something that you'd like to live in the future? I would actually be keen to find out if you're actually already living that life, or you're sort of still working towards it. But
and the other thing too there is, you know, some people, let's say, aim for the simple life. Not that it's right or wrong.
Oh, there's no judgment about what you want, what your perfect day looks like.
No, but I mean, if your goal, maybe I'm just speaking from my own personal situation here, but like if your goal is to just sit around and drink all the time, like you would get sick of that, wouldn't you? Like you'd have to find something else to do.
I don't know. I think you get sick of. I think you get sick of anything. Like even like myself, who wants to be a musician, like I couldn't do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for like the rest of my life.
No.
You know, one of the things that I am really passionate about is growth and change and like evolving.
Yeah.
So I constantly like to challenge myself. So if I'm doing the same thing forever, like I would no longer be challenging myself. That's one thing I know about myself is I like the challenge. I like constantly putting myself in new situations that scare the shit out of me, and then overcoming that fear and doing it anyway.
Yeah. Our mate Steve, man, he's living a good life.
Oh, Steve said he's doing it when he's not working. That's awesome, bro. Because like so many people think like I'll live that perfect life when I retire. I'm going to live that perfect day that I would love to live when I get to retirement.
Yeah.
I don't have to work, and then I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And it's like, A, lots of people don't make it to retirement. B, people that make it to retirement don't often have a lot of money to live the life they want to live.
Yeah.
You know? And C, like you're going to wait 65 years of your life to live the life you want to live?
Yeah.
Like that's a long time to wait.
Yeah.
Like why not start living it now? Why not start taking steps in the direction of living it now?
We're so youthful and what's the word? Anti industry, you know, in a sense where it's like the government said, you know, your role is to go to school and get a job and contribute to the world, and then we can provide for you at the end. But it's like, well, fuck it. If I can figure out a way to make it my own way, then I don't need to rely on the system.
We're willing to be the heretics, man.
Yeah,
we're willing to be
step
outside of that like normal mainstream way of living and say like, why do I want to wait till I'm 65 to live the life I want to live? Anyway, by the time we get to retirement, it's going to be like 75.
Oh, yeah, 80.
Because the age keeps going up, you know? So you're going to wait 70 years of your life to be happy? Like, that just sounds depressing when you put it like that, you know?
And that's why...
As Steve said, don't wait. Just get in, start living your life now, man.
Yeah. And for me personally, you know, finding... mapping out that map, you know, planning out those steps. It's like, well, that's where I want to be, working backwards and like... Hell yeah, you know, like I'll make my own way. You know, I don't want to have to, let's say, be on the pension or these things. You know, for the government to provide me with a basic lifestyle.
You want more than like $400 a week or whatever.
Yeah, I want more than that. You know, so I know that's up to me to go and make that happen. You know, and this beautiful thing we have called capitalism. You know, to go out there and to build the life that I want to do.
You want to do.
You know, because opportunity is there for every single one of us. You know, we all have the same amount of 24 hours, which is the only thing we need to make it happen.
Yeah.
You know?
We're getting some people in here saying that what their perfect day is. You know, Josh said he loves being a metalhead, helping his mum, doing stuff at home and just being positive. Like that's the life he wants to live, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Josh. Todd said his perfect day would be a long hike with his family, and home to cook a good meal, eat a meal, and then have a bonfire outside. That's and lasting program dichotomy. Todd's perfect day includes Wartooth as the soundtrack.
Right, I like it.
Right on, brother. That's
like
awesome. But you know, and then what do we got here? So Tim's studying to become a counselor to help himself. You know, Blake said her future plan is to get the cabin crew job. So she wants to be a an air hostess. You know, on the planes and traveling the world. You know.
That's awesome.
So like, it's really good. You guys are like, and this is where goals come into life. You know, it's like, this is the life I want to live. So now that becomes a goal.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I want to work towards that goal. So I got to set smaller goals to get me there. You know.
Yeah.
That's how like that whole mindset of goal setting becomes a reality, because you start with, what's the life I want to live? What's going to make me happy? You know, and not waiting until I'm 70 to get there.
Yeah.
Like, start working towards it now. You know. So.
Yeah.
I know some people I've spoken to in the past, and something I've experienced. Like, you're a big goal setter.
Yeah.
You like writing goals down, and then just like setting like a
Got that
plan,
map,
a schedule, and then start working towards it.
Yeah.
Myself, I'm more of a visual person. So like for me, like a vision board has really helped my life in that way. If you guys don't know what a vision board is, basically it's like you figure out what the perfect day or your perfect lifestyle looks like. You find a bunch of images on, say, like Pinterest or Google image search or Instagram or whatever, of the life that you want to look, what you want your life to look like. You print all those images out. You stick them on a big poster, like a big collage thing of like, this is what I want my life to look like in 5 years, 10 years, or just eventually, you know. And then you have a visual reference every day. You wake up and you see that vision board, and you be like, that's what my life's going to look like. What am I doing today to like get me closer to that? You know, and I made one of those at probably towards the end of last year, maybe September, October last year. I said, this is what I want my life to look like in 5 years' time. You know, and I made a big vision board, and maybe I'll do a show and tell next time on The Real Truth, and I'll bring it along and I'll show you what it is. But certainly if you guys want to see it or you want to talk to me about it, like hit me up in the messages. But for me, the vision board has given me so much more clarity of like, this is what I want my life to look like. This is what I want to work towards.
Yep.
Rather than just like going aimlessly about my day hoping that I'm going to stumble on happiness, you know? So,
Yeah.
and like you're not so visually oriented, you're like more of a written guy.
Well, yeah, man. Like,
so do you want to explain your sort of goal setting process?
It's interesting because I have, as I said to you the other day, you know, if my immediate goals, maybe not immediate as in like I'll achieve them this week, but the goals that are within reach or that I'm currently working towards, you know, they serve a greater purpose which has not yet been clearly defined due to the limitations of my, really just the limitations of my imagination and my inability to dream too big. So it's like, well, I think I want to be like way out there somewhere, and so one of the steps I can see for myself personally is making enough money to the fact where I don't need to go to work anymore, so I can have more time to spend on the band and doing all these things I spoke about, you know. Yeah. So I'm taking steps to build up my wealth in alternative methods than going to trade my time for dollars. So if I'm trying to get to the point where I can quit my job, then okay, that takes me to the next step, and then I go, okay, where do I go from here? You know, okay, I now have an extra 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day. I can allocate a little bit to this and a little bit to that, and so all of a sudden, straight away, I can start to spend more time with my missus. I can spend more time doing the reading that I want. I can spend more time doing the band stuff that I want.
Yeah.
It just opens up these opportunities. Yeah, opens things up.
Before, yeah.
So, for me, it's just a case of like, well, I know what needs to be done, and so I just power through to get to that. And then when I get there, the next set of doors will present themselves.
That's right, yeah, and that's like I said about my vision board. I've only set this is like a 5-year sort of like goal, and when I get there, like I'm gonna trade that and be like, okay, well now I'm here, I've got all these other opportunities. Yeah. And I've done all the stuff that I wanted to do. What now do I want to do? You know?
Yeah.
And that's that continual, I guess, pursuit of that life that you want to live. It's like it's gonna keep evolving. Once you get all the stuff you want, you like, it's not just like, okay, cool, I can just coast into like death now. It's like it's like there'll be more stuff that I want, and I'm fully aware of that, but I've got to get that step done. As you say, you've got to get to the next step before the one after will present itself sometimes.
Yeah, man. And personally, you know, to me, you don't want to be climbing into that graveyard like full of beans and and all healthy and in one piece. Like you should be crawling into your grave like absolutely spent with nothing left, you know, because you gave it everything you could. And for me,
out life.
you know, yeah, that's like a personal motivator. It's like we're not here to pass the time. Like the time is the only thing that we have that is limited.
Yeah.
You know, and so you want to be like falling in your grave, ready to die, because you've done everything you can. You know.
You know what's awesome about that?
What's that?
That's where the word, the band name Wartooth came from.
That exactly right. Yeah.
That exact attitude is where we got the name Wartooth. So, Wartooth was the name of a Viking warrior king, basically, from the, I want to say like 400s, somewhere around there. Maybe it was a bit later. Maybe it was like 700s, like AD. So like, you know, going back 1500 years ago, basically. There was a guy who was a Viking warrior who captured and conquered like a large part of like Scandinavia, Northern Europe, bits of England, Germany, like parts of Russia, that whole sort of northern part of Europe. It was all his kingdom. He was Wartooth. Harold Wartooth is his name. You know, and he conquered so much of the world, and he did so much stuff, and just lived his life to the absolute max, to the point where he was bored with life, and he was waiting for death because he'd just done everything he could possibly do. He had the largest Viking kingdom like in history. You know, he had all these other like sub kingdoms underneath him that he like oversaw and ran, and like nobody could beat him in battle. He was one of these kings that was on the front line with his axe, you know, going into war every time, and every time he survived and came back, and he was victorious in every battle, to the point where he's like, this is not even a challenge anymore. Like going to war, like I want to die in war.
Yeah.
Obviously part of the Viking lore and Viking like the spirituality and everything around that is like it brings them honor if they die in battle, serving their country, serving themselves or their king or whatever, you know. So he didn't want to die of old age sitting around at home like because nobody could kill him in battle. He's like, no, I want to die on the battlefield. So he was always in the battlefield, like front line, ready to go.
Yeah.
And nobody could like kill him. He was just like invincible, you know. And he was like getting frustrated at that. He's like, somebody please like kill me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like I've conquered the world. Like I've lived life to the max. I'm ready to die.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Like bring me death. and still nobody could knock him down. So what he did is he set up he put a call out to all the other like kings and chieftains and everybody else around in all those like sub kingdoms, and said, we're basically going to have like a free for all tournament for my throne. Like one of you guys is going to kill me, and then you'll like get the kingdom or whatever. Like, so he goes into battle. He sets up this battle of like all the chieftains, all the armies are there, and he's like, I'm ready to die. You know, so he goes into this massive like battle with all these other chieftains and stuff, and he eventually does get stricken down and die but he was ready for it. He's like, I've lived life. I've lived every possible day I can live, and I'm stoked with life, and I'm ready to end it. I want to like, you know, ascend to Valhalla.
Yeah.
And be with the gods.
Yeah.
But nobody can knock me down. So he finally got his
way.
Got his happiness or his freedom from life or whatever.
Yeah.
That he was chasing. But that attitude of just like living life to the absolute max and being ready to embrace death because you've done everything you possibly can. That's the attitude of Wartooth.
Yeah.
That's the attitude of us, and that's why that name means so much to us as a band. You know, a lot of people don't know where it comes from, and they think it comes from Metalocalypse or something like that. It's like, no way, man. This is Wartooth is an attitude.
Yeah.
Live life to the absolute max, to the point where you're ready to embrace death.
That's a beautiful circle, my friend.
Bro. That's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. That's what the Wartooth is about. That's what the Warpath is about. That's what the Raw Truth is about, you know? Living life to the absolute max. And I can see some of you guys are absolutely all about that as well. So, yeah. So there you go. If you didn't know, that's where the name Wartooth came from. A little bit of a side story there for today. But, yeah, so like you were saying, man, it's you want to live, you want to fall into that grave absolutely spent.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, I've still got some energy in the tank.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that other thing that I didn't do that I wanted to do, you know?
Yeah. I mean, especially from the fact that you don't necessarily have to allow like external things to come in and crush what it is that you're doing. It's like, I have a clear path, you know, things aren't going to let me become a stray. Like, let's go get it done.
Yeah.
You know?
Much like Wartooth would have done with all of his battles and conquering.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't just turn up into a country and be like, oh, maybe I'll take this over. No, you had a plan, you had a strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went out and got it done.
That's it.
Right,
Todd's put in a really good comment here. So, Todd was saying about the vision board, you know, it's a good idea. He said he's also touching on like what you're saying, you know, turning those negative things into positive things. You know, he said his career has become a big negative in his life after 5 years. He resigned, but instead of considering it a loss, he considered it an opportunity. So this is huge, man, and this is one thing that we talk about a lot, is that positive mindset, seeing potentially negative things as opportunities. Like, you could lose something, or you've just freed up a space in your life for something else to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he said, you know, he lost his job, well, he quit his job, and then considered that a great opportunity where he visualized and saw it had a new career. You know, so now he's in a better position, more money, less politics. Sorry, it just keeps scrolling on me there as I'm trying to read it, you know. Yeah, you just have to believe and be willing to say, like, hey, I'm going this way, and this is not a loss, this other thing, it's an opportunity to move forward and into something better, you know. I'm sure you guys can relate or have had similar things in your life, you know. Do you have an example of that, Wally, where you like, I mean, I know you're really big on the positive mindset
Finding those
stuff,
opportunities,
so,
man. Yeah.
like, looking for opportunities in negative situations.
I mean, there's been so much. I guess it's all around, you know. Now that my brain's like more attuned to finding them, like everything in life just becomes something to be extracted from. You know, like my missus' computer gets stolen out of our house, so we get to figure out how to save up $3,000 to buy a new one. You know,
And
we
you
get to
get a
come
new
up
computer.
with well, that too, but like, okay, well, we lost our computer. We get to come up with a savings plan. We get to execute the savings plan. You know, there's a whole lot of fighting and relationship tension that comes with that, which we get to grow from. And now we've got a new computer and like gets to go on and do the thing.
And you've just developed a savings plan of how to save money.
How to save money, how to stay disciplined. Same thing happened with my car. Like, my gearbox crapped out and I had to get a new one put in. So, okay, well, I had to take the car to my parents' house, and car was out of action for 2 weeks. So what's happening now? Okay, well, I'm driving my missus to work every morning. There you go. So more time with the missus. Got to pick her up, or she, you know, find her own way home, whatever the case may be.
You could quite easily see all of that as really negative stuff.
Yeah.
Like, somebody stole my shit, my computer, all the things I've lost that were on there. I'm now out a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Don't have a computer now.
Yeah.
My gearbox died. It's going to cost me more money.
Yeah.
Now I have to get up early and drive my missus to work.
Yeah.
You could equally see all of that same thing completely negatively. Like, there's all this shit happening to you, and it's not fair, and you got all this extra stuff on you.
And this was just November.
Or or you can like look at it the way you are, where it's like, now I've got all this opportunity for positive stuff and growth and
and that's what I mean, you know. That's what I said to her too, because you know she's so like caught up emotionally about all the things happening, and I'm like it's all good, you know. Things will figure themselves out, and we can sit there and be upset about them figuring themselves out, or we can be excited about the fact we got new things going on.
Yeah,
you know,
like,
you can choose.
Yeah, like Steve said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah,
that's so. Yeah, like, thanks so much, Todd, for sharing that insight about the positive attitude, because it's one thing that Wally and I are really all about, and one thing that Wartooth's all about, you know?
Yeah.
Looking at things positively rather than negatively. Like, it's your choice at the end of the day. Something happens, it is not good or bad.
Yeah.
The thing that happens is just a thing that happens.
That's a fact, yeah.
It's your perspective on it that makes it good or bad.
Yeah.
It's your interpretation of it and your attitude towards it that makes it good or bad. So.
Yeah. And I mean, it's perfect, you know, it's great to see you guys here today, you know. It's not a solitary journey, you know. We are talking about things that other people are involved in and other people care about, and, you know, I guess for ourselves and for you guys as well, just knowing that whether we're close or even a little bit apart, there's still so many similarities to be bonded over, and therefore that it's not a solitary journey. And that the point of today's discussion is that it feels like it, but it's not the case, you know. It's okay to be outcasted from whoever, because you know you're being you, and in that you'll find other people.
That's a really good point, actually, like what you just said, what we just talked about having that the loss is an opportunity. by separating yourself from the group that you don't want to be part of,
Yeah.
now you're by yourself. You can look at that like, oh, I'm so lonely and by myself. Or you can look at it as like, well, hey, I just freed up a few new friend slots.
Yeah.
Let's go find some awesome new friends
There's some
that
interviews.
fit my like current lifestyle and my
Yeah.
current personality.
Yeah.
You know, so, and that's the thing, yeah. So by being the heretic, by being willing to step out of the group and go against what everyone else is doing because it's what you want to do, provides you the opportunity to then find more people that do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And as you say, we can be part of a community now doing
Yeah.
all this stuff, you know, so it's awesome that you guys are part of that community, that you guys are willing to step out and say like, hey, I'm about this stuff too. You know, you're putting the effort in to tune into the live stream, you're putting more effort in to put a comment down there and you know, like really be part of the conversation, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's one of those things, you know, like it's so good to see you guys absolutely getting on board that journey and being part of it. And we love having you guys as part of the community. We love being part of the community with you. And, you know, it's awesome, the relationships we're developing through this stuff. It's really cool. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably a good sort of point to tie it all
Good,
up.
man. That's a good loop.
Yeah. Yeah, so don't feel like you're alone, guys. Definitely don't feel like you're alone in living the life you want to live. Be confident that if you live it strong enough, other people will find you who are similar.
Yep. Yeah, and I think, just don't ever get trapped in that space mentally, you know, because the problem is that you can't see anyone like you because no one's out there waving the flag, you know, so you've got to get out there and wave the flag for yourself and be, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, and someone will gravitate towards you, you know. There will be someone who cares and recognizes and acknowledges and relates, you know, but you're only going to get that by going out there and being you know.
That's right.
Being what it is that you want to be. So,
you know what we're doing?
doing what we want to do.
That's right. We're recording.
Oh, you mean actually what are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're well, that's right. We're doing what we want to do, which is
Specifically
learning and recording some awesome cover songs
Yeah.
in our garage at the moment, because we obviously don't have a full band lineup to play gigs. So we thought, well, what can we do with this opportunity, not loss? We can record and learn cover songs in the garage.
We can also print vinyl and a bunch of
That's
other
right.
awesome things.
Yeah. Well, like what I was going to say is we've got another garage jam video coming out next week.
Yeah.
Next 10
next
days.
Week. Yeah.
Which we're very excited. It's a Pantera cover. Maybe the title of this Wartooth will give away what song we're doing. But you know, so we're really excited to be sharing that video with you guys in a few days. So keep your eyes out for that one on YouTube and Facebook. We've also got Wired to Die, which we did last time. So if you guys haven't seen that, jump over to YouTube, check out our Garage Jam series, check out some of the acoustic stuff we're doing. Wally's put drum covers up. We've got lots of stuff happening on the YouTube, so definitely make sure you check us all out there. There's plenty of music and plenty of other awesome stuff. We also have, what did you say? Vinyl?
Well, just on your videos there.
Oh, yeah.
Also, you know, we got the band-based jam videos. We also got the single jam-based videos. You know, last time you did According to Mosh. This month I'm doing.
Antisocial.
So that's right. Antisocial.
The other Anthrax tune.
The other Anthrax tune that's very awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I got a drum video coming out this Wednesday evening.
You do too.
For all of you in Australia, if you want to tune in, that'll be on Facebook Live. Keep your eyes out for that one.
That's a drum cover.
Drum cover video. So you'll have to tune in to see what song it is, and you know, join me for a chat. We'll be talking about whatever it is you really want to chat about. So that's all good.
That's right.
And then next week we might have to start telling people to give us some money for vinyls.
Ooh, vinyls are coming along, guys.
Yeah.
They've been sent off for printing a little while ago.
Yeah.
They are slowly producing the big, extra awesome, shiny looking program dichotomy discs in full 12-inch size.
Yeah.
So they are coming along. We will be opening pre-orders for that very soon.
Yeah.
If you guys want to know the minute they go on sale, make sure you join us on the mailing list at signup.wartoothmetal.com.
Yep.
Our members will get first dibs.
Yep.
We're only printing a limited run of vinyls.
Yep.
150, I believe.
150.
But it'll be slightly less than that because, you know, I'm going to have one.
Yeah, I
You're
think
probably gonna have
we've
one.
got our parents in line
And there's
there.
a couple of
few
other people
taking
that
in
might
line
get
there.
one. So there's actually going to be less than 150 for sale.
Yeah.
And our members will get first dibs on them. So once the members have had at it with the pre-sales, then we'll open pre-sales to public if there's any left.
Yep.
And then once the pre-sales are finished, if there are still any left,
Yep.
then you guys can get on the purchasing train. So if you guys don't want to miss out on the vinyls, make sure you sign up to our mailing list, as
Yep.
in signup.wartoothmetal.com.
That's it.
And be part of the journey.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys are loving the conversations we're having. There's plenty more of that on the emails. Obviously, by subscribing to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anywhere you want to follow us on the socials, you also get more insight and more of these types of conversations.
Yep.
But if you really want the meat and potatoes, or in your case, the potatoes.
The potatoes and the pretend meat now.
That's right, yeah. Make sure you jump on the mailing list, because that's where we have one-on-one conversations with you guys. You can email us whenever you like. We'll email you a couple times a week. But absolutely, you guys can just shoot us emails whenever you like and have a conversation, because that's what we're all about.
Yeah, man.
Having those conversations. So,
Because
signup.wartoothmetal.com.
At the end of the day, we do what we want to do, talking about what we want to talk about, and holy shit, what do you know? There's some other people out there who care, and also want to have these conversations. So, if that is you, like I said, hit us up. It's all got to be done. We're just living our life. You're just living yours, and it's awesome to have other people around us doing the same stuff. To provide that support.
Yep.
Give some knowledge, share some strategies to attack those days and those hurdles that we're all facing.
Yeah, the mental health battles, the motivation battles, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
It's so good to have other people on the warpath with us and around us.
Yeah.
It's all, so it's not a solitary journey. It's just that constant reminder of like, hey, other people are going this way too.
Yeah.
It's a good path to be on.
It's a busy road. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a busy
We're
road.
turning it into a highway, bro.
Yeah.
That's right.
Steam train that 3-lane wide.
Upgrading the warpath to turn into a bloody freeway with public transport on it and everything. So.
Yeah, she used to be just a carved out bush path with the machete, but now she's starting to get a bit of rubber on the road now.
Absolutely, man. It's so good. So good to see you guys all being part of the community. As Raw Truthers, we will look into some Raw Truth patches, Josh, and other people that have requested them.
The best part about being on the mailing list, you might even be able to help us design them. So
ooh, that's right.
That'll be
mailing
something
list.
to do. Yeah.
When we did the vinyl designs,
yeah,
the guys on the mailing list got an input in what color the discs were going to be. If we do some patches or some other Raw Truth merchandise,
yeah,
if you guys are on the mailing list, you also get input into what the design might look like. So, absolutely get on board. And if you guys are loving Program Dichotomy, like Todd and Josh, who both said it was the best thrash album of 2020, and I have to agree, humbly. If you guys haven't already heard Program Dichotomy, or you haven't already got a copy of it, if you're not going to wait for the vinyls, you can grab a CD copy, you can grab a digital copy, you can stream it on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever the streaming services are available. Make sure you keep giving us a spin, getting that Wartooth thrash in your life, because, as we don't need to sell it. Todd and Josh have already sold it for us, saying it's the best thrash album of last year. So
get your blood pumping.
If you haven't
it's
heard
inspiring,
it, I don't know
and
where
it's
you've
the
been.
greatest of all time. To quote our friend Todd.
Yeah, that's not our opinion.
Nah,
It's their opinion.
that's someone else's opinion. So
It's
pretty
also
happy
our
with that.
opinion. Yeah.
I'll stand by Todd.
I think it's pretty good.
On you, Todd.
Yeah, it's definitely the best album I've ever made.
Alright, mate. What do you reckon?
But other than that, guys, make sure you keep treading that warpath. Keep headbanging through mental health and motivation and everything else that you guys are getting through. Have a ripping Sunday, or if you're in the States, have a ripping Saturday evening, and keep getting after it.
Yeah.
As always, stay thrash, and have a good one.
See you next time.